The other big story is this laptop story. I know what you're saying. It's not going away because we're getting more details about it. You always said to yourself, why did those 51 people sign off and say it's classic Russian disinformation? And what role did it play in the debate? A huge role. At one point, when Donald Trump, in that big debate, turned around and said, look at what you guys were involved with this laptop, and the president looked into the camera and said, this is 51 intel experts, including 2 CIA directors, said this is classic example of Russian disinformation. He looked at you, the American people, and he lied. And guess what gave him the fortification to lie? Michael Morrell, the former deputy CIA director and temporary acting director, rounded up on the behest of our Secretary of State, it's alleged, now Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, 51 intel experts. Here's one. They reached out to John Brennan, and he said this: we want to give the VP a talking point to use in response. That is about the debate. When John Brennan asked previously, why are you, what is this about? He said, we want you to sign off on a letter saying this is Russian disinformation. And it neutralized President Trump's talking point.
So I think this is important for several reasons.
And he said, John Brennan said yes.
This wasn't a matter of people being confused or anything like that. This was more nefarious. They knew it was a lie. They knew the laptop was real. And they said, let's get all these people together. These people didn't even verify the information.
Trump loses.
So
Mike
Trump
Morrell
loses
says so Trump loses.
Because he needs a talking point. That was all choreographed. You know, Joe Biden can't remember anything. This was used to usurp the American voters because they knew it would impact the election. I mean, this is unbelievable.
It's election interference.
And the media covered for him.
Of course. Of course. The media covered for him. And this absolutely did. There's plenty of polling that shows that 14% of Americans would have voted differently, either not voted or voted for Donald Trump had they known about the laptop or known that it was true. And this was this wasn't just the intel. This wasn't just the media. We had big tech involved in too. This was a highly coordinated, that's right, this was a highly coordinated act to suppress this information, and very important information, because this is more than just, you know, someone trying to get rich. We've seen corruption before. It's certainly third world level. This is the kind of stuff you see in Latin America. But this is greater than this, because this involved China, this involved Russia, this involved Ukraine and Romania. The three that I mentioned first, the Moscow mayor. These are America's enemy, and with Joe Biden elected, that means he's compromised, and our policies would be affected. Here's John Solomon talking about this letter that was signed by these so-called intelligence officials.
CIA Directors Club is an exclusive small club. People that this country trusted to run our entire intelligence apparatus. They derive their credibility from the American people for the trust that we placed in them. We, the American taxpayers, gave them the responsibility of running the most powerful spy agency in the world. And they took those bona fides and they took those credentials. This letter shows, this email between 2 CIA directors, to try to create a political outcome in an election and then portray it as an organic intelligence warning. 51 people who carried the power of the United States Intelligence Committee signed this letter without an iota or shred of evidence that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation or a Russian information operation, so that Joe Biden could have that moment to lie to the American people that there was no there in the Hunter Biden scandal.
All of this is going on, right? All this information is being revealed. And every time we see the president, we see Hunter Biden. I mean, I know it's his son and all that, but it's like he's taunting the American people. It's like, I can get away with it. I got away with it.
And guess what? There's some tension now between the White House, according to Axios, and Hunter Biden's camp, because they dumped his lawyer and got the very aggressive Abby Lowell. And the White House says, you're making too big a deal of this. You're hurting us now with your case. You're trumpeting it up. You're being too aggressive with this attorney. So there's tension now between the Biden camp and the Biden White House and the Hunter trial, which is, it didn't make any sense. I mean, who advised him to take on this, to challenge his child support payoffs? Who told him to be this aggressive after the laptop owner? He said, well, it's not he never admitted it's his laptop, but Abby Lowell goes in the face and says, hey, stop telling everyone, I'm going to sue you for releasing information from the laptop, which he never admitted was his. So that's ticking off the White House.
When you see our intelligence agencies being weaponized and that they can lie, they can coordinate and lie on this level, we've talked about it off camera. It affects the way we interpret anything that comes out of our government, whether it's information about the Ukraine war or anything else. As far as I'm concerned, you add Russia collusion, this coordinated effort. I don't believe anything coming out of our intelligence agency. It has absolutely destroyed their credibility with everyday people, and I think that's dangerous for our country.
And just to put a bow on this, some of these people are still signed as analysts for media stations. They should all be suspended.
I mean, think about who would
They should be ashamed.
Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and Andy McCabe. Who would ever sign them for credibility? They all got caught lying. And John Brennan still appears on these networks. That's the clown that signed off on this without even looking at it.
Good for the Republicans for bringing John Brennan in to testify, which he will do, I think, next week.
Let's see what he's going to lie about. It's just kind of scary that the president's that comfortable lying.
Yeah,
just lie. Yeah, he knows it was his son's laptop. He knows all the stuff was authentic. He looked into the camera and he said Russian disinformation.
He's the big guy.
What else is he lying
10%.
about?
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.